Every single day, I want my destiny. I want my dream. When somebody is in love with who they've been called to become, what they've been called to fulfill, what they've been destined to do, there is no day off. There are no lights. Listen, I'm not a light switch. You can't turn me off. I can never get turned off. Every single day, I'm giving everything I have. That's how big my dream is. And so there's no excuse. There's no pain. There's no dilemma. There are no speed bumps. There's no distraction that can turn me off. I'm not a light switch. You can't turn me off. I want this thing every single day.
Wealthy people, first they get into stocks, then they start a business, and then they get real estate. Owning a stock is owning a percentage of a great business. The people who aren't wealthy is because they don't own nothing. You only have your money sitting in cash. If your money is just sitting in cash, realistically, you're becoming poorer every day. The key to wealth is through ownership. At about 9 or 10, I saw my moms get shot in front of my face. My early years were surrounded with violence. I saw my mama selling drugs. I saw my mama robbing. I saw my moms get robbed. I saw her get shot. And then she later on went to prison, right? So I saw that early. At 14, my mom was in prison and I lost my grandmother, which was who I was living with at the time. 14, I'm homeless. I'm just on a robbery. But in prison, I had a fight with two of my homies. In prison, we fight for like 4 hours. Jeez. Back to back. I'm just fighting one after another one.
God is an A game. I ain't got a B game. I ain't got a C game. When I finish, people are relying on me. Some of y'all, when you get on the field, you forgot what it was like when you was hustling in high school playing ball. When you were in college, hustling to get to this point.
If you want something, you've got to be relentless. You've got to decide, I deserve this, and I'm going to have it. And you go all out to get it.
Every day, I wake up and think of my ideal life. I have so many goals that I want to accomplish. I have so much that I want to do. I have a vision of my life, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be. At times, I get overwhelmed, and I become so impatient with myself. I truly feel sometimes I'm just falling behind. I feel at times the clock is winding down. It truly is a struggle to stay positive and motivated.
Good evening to everyone. Super excited to be here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for another yet amazing and intriguing session. So, tonight we're talking about the goal of mastery in leadership. The goal of mastery in leadership. What does it mean to gain mastery in leadership? Right. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And hey, I have with me with I have with me here some amazing speakers. These ones are amazing. When I use the word amazing, I've spoken with them. I've listened to their mind. I've listened to one of them here coach me one on one. Right. I mean, they're amazing, super amazing. And that is Bukola Oni on the screen, and that is Oge. Can you please say welcome to them? Welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm super excited to have you join me here today. All right, so we're going to be talking about the goal of mastery, and I think I will be going first, right? I will be going first. I will be going first. Let's dive into what I have tonight. The goal of mastery in leadership. All right. So if this is your first time joining us, please I want you to do me a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, invite a friend to join us, and also share the link. All right. Invite a friend, share the link, and click on the notification bell. All right. I mean, this is how you can also inspire me as a person, right? So please do that. Invite your friends, invite your colleagues. Just keep bringing people in. Tonight is going to be super packed. It's going to be power charged as well. All right. So you won't regret for coming here tonight. I promise you. You won't regret. You won't. I mean, this doesn't mean you are wasting your time, right? Because we are all here to learn tonight. All right. So do that for me, please. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, invite a friend to join us, and share the link with your people as well. All right. So I'll be talking about the goal of mastering leadership. And there is a course I created a few weeks ago. I titled The Hashem Order of Systemic Leadership. The Hashem Order of Systemic Leadership. So if you really want to gain mastery in leadership, number one, you have to understand your niche. You have to find your niche, right? What am I good at? What do I really want to learn? What kind of solution am I providing to the world? What kind of solution am I bringing? Am I presenting to the world? So you need to understand your niche first. Second thing you need to do is understand your strength and weakness. I've realized at some point that people just want to, juggle into everything. You want to roll more balls at a time. And that is not how to gain mastery in leadership. If you really want to gain mastery in leadership, you must focus on a particular thing. Then you can now spread your wings, by mastering by mastering the prospect, by mastering a goal, by mastering a vision, by mastering the idea, you can spread your wings abroad. So understand your strengths and weakness. That is, that is understand what you are capable of doing. You must understand what you are capable of doing. You must understand what you are born to do. It is not by you doing what your friends are doing. That is not really healthy to your growth. It's not healthy to your success as well as a leader. So if you want to gain mastery in leadership, you must understand your strengths and weaknesses. You can't do everything at a time. I read a quote a few weeks ago, and while I was going through the quote, I mean, it really touched my heart, right? The quote says, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." So if you're trying to be everywhere, it means you are nowhere. So let people know you for something. What do people know me for, right? Let people know you for something. Let them define you for something. Very important, which is what you've gained mastery in over time. All right. The third thing you need to put in mind is know what your focus is. Know what your focus is. The next point here says, be aware that failure is visible, but your choice and response to failure determines how great you become. Don't deny the fact that failure is invisible. Failure is visible. Success is visible, right? The reason why people, in Nigeria, for instance, right, we have a lot of religious folks where some will say, "Oh, I don't want to think negatively." Of course, we understand that part. None of us also want to think negatively, but the fact that you don't want to think negatively doesn't mean you should ignore the reality of life. Doesn't mean you should ignore the reality of life. Some things are bound to happen, especially failure. So be aware that failure is visible, but your choice and response to failure determines how great you become. Now, why is personal mastery essential? So when it comes to gaining mastery in leadership, why is mastery in leadership so essential? Contribution is a core element of leadership, and personal mastery allows you to make the best contribution you can to solve problems. It arises through your ability to leverage your personal experience, knowledge, and unique skills set into developing a plan of action that can inspire your team, organization, and your people. All right. Understand that personal mastery can also help you more productively deal with stress, when tense or difficult situations arise. It is so easy to fall into a trap of allowing over excitement, passion, frustration, or worry to inspire a poor decision. Mastering yourself will enable you to make more informed decisions in challenging times. Now, understand that personal mastery, talks about it talks about understanding your niche, right? So gaining mastery in leadership, you must understand what your focus is. Like I said, you can't, you can actually juggle more balls at a times, right? But you cannot do everything at once. I mean, you can't be everywhere, because to be everywhere is to be nowhere. So ego is an essential element of your personal brand, but it must be under your control. Ego is an essential element of your personal brand, but it must be under your control. You need a degree of ego to understand your strengths and develop your confidence. You need a degree of ego to understand your strengths and develop your confidence. Excessive ego can negatively impact your personal brand by making you undesirable to work with, an untimely, ultimately understanding your authority with your team, right? So what are the essential keywords? What are the essential keywords here? Now understand that, we talk about ego is an essential element of your personal brand. So ego, right? Ego is part of your essential elements of your personal brand. Now, when we talk about ego, we are talking about you simply not saying yes to everything. At times, people will come to you and say, "Oh, let me offer you this." You see, in leadership, your ability to say no is more powerful than your ability to say yes. Even as a person, you must learn what it means to say no at times, right? Would you like to follow me to this place? No, I don't feel like going. Now, people would think you are proud. I mean, that's ego. That's part of you. I mean, you don't want to relate with people and all, but that's not really what you mean, right? By you saying no simply means you don't want to, you don't just want to involve yourself in everything. You can't keep saying yes to every single person that comes your way. Some deserve to hear the word no. So ego is an essential element of your personal brand. Just know what works for you. Know what works for you. So it talks about ego, right? It talks about personal brand. So when we talk about personal brand, what do we mean? Do you know that you are a brand? It is not really about the product you are putting out there. You in person is a brand. You are a brand. That's why I said if you want to gain mastery in leadership, you first must understand your niche, know what works for you, understand your strengths and your weakness. So, number three, control, your ability to put things under control. Your ability, your strength to put things under control. The next point says understanding your strengths. Next point, developing your confidence. So if you want to gain mastery in leadership, you must develop confidence. You must be bold about what you do. You must be able to prove to people, this is what I do. I stand for this, right? This is what you stand for. That if they wake you up in the middle of the night to ask you a question based on your field, you are willing to give them answers, right? So this is what you stand for. Understand and know what you stand for as a leader. That is also one way you can gain mastery. All right. That's one way you can gain mastery. And by impacting your brand, you must know what it means to impact your brand. How do you impact your brand? By daily putting efforts and being committed to that thing. That is how you impact your brand. It's not first about calling people. It is, are you willing to commit? Are you willing to put in the work required to make sure your brand spread abroad? So you must know or learn what it means to impact your brand, right? How you feel or what you think about your brand is what people see. How you feel or what you think about your brand is what people see. What you speak of your brand is what people believe. What I speak of my brand is what people believe. What I speak of myself is what people believe. They might have a different opinion of who I am, but what I say about me, if I keep saying this, maybe for instance, I'm told to do something, and I said, I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure I can. If I keep telling myself I'm not sure I can, I'm not sure I can, it will surely affect me. And that's just a part of me I'm presenting to people. That anytime we go to this guy, he's always complaining, he's not sure he can, he's not sure he can. So what you speak of your brand is what people believe. That's why I said you are a brand. You are a brand. You are a brand. I know you want to create a lot of services, a lot of products. It's fine, but you are a brand. If your mind is not fixed, it's going to affect the brand you are trying to push out there. So you must gain confidence. You must have boldness in what you do. Have boldness in yourself. Have confidence in yourself. Your conviction determines your power of influence. Conviction precedes influence. Conviction precedes influence. Understand that your conviction determines your power of influence. If I am not convinced enough, I won't be live here tonight, right? So your conviction determines your power of influence. When people are listening to you, can I tell you what they are listening to? They are not listening to your words. They can observe your confidence. They can observe your boldness. And what they're also observing is your sense of clarity. Are you really sure about what you're doing? So your conviction determines your power of influence. How convinced are you? So in leadership, if you really want to gain mastery, you must be convinced about that particular thing. You must be convinced about your leadership journey. This reminds me of the story of Moses. When God called Moses to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt, I share this story all the time, right? And Moses ended up complaining to God, I can't do this. I am scared of Pharaoh. He's going to deal with me. He's going to kill me. He's going to beat me. And God said, hey, I'm not even looking at your weaknesses in the first place. I don't even care, right? I don't even care about what you think. I am the one sending you. So I got to realize that if God is sending you on an assignment, He doesn't care about your weaknesses. He doesn't care about the fact that you are complaining to Him. He just wants you to go ahead and fulfill, to accomplish that assignment, that goal He has sent you to do. So God really doesn't care about your weaknesses. As a matter of fact, He didn't create weakness in us. So it's because people are trying to do what every other person is doing is the reason why they realize, oh, I'm not really built for this. Of course, you can't be built for what every other person is built for. You must discover your niche, understand what you've been called to do, understand where you stand. People do not understand where they stand when it comes to leadership. You must define your niche. You must be able to, to bridge in the gaps. All right. You must be able to bridge in the gap. Your conviction determines your power of influence. The reason why you are bold is because you are convinced. So conviction precedes boldness. The reason why you are bold is because you are convinced. Why are you bold about marketing? That's because you are convinced about marketing. Why are you bold about the course you went to school to study? It's because you know more about it. And the proof that you know more is because you are convinced about the course. Why do you do what you do? Is because you are convinced about it. You can literally hear your spirit speaking to you that this is what I want you to do. And that's why you go for it. Right? It's the reason why you go for it. It's not that somebody is forcing you to do it. So when you see people doing stuff, don't be quick to judge what they do. Right? Don't be quick to judge what they do. If you see them doing stuff and maybe you realize they're not creating enough traction yet, that doesn't mean they are quitting anytime soon. Understand that conviction, right, precedes influence. So if you really want to influence people or gain mastery as a leader, you must be convinced about why you do what you do. You must be convinced about why you do what you do. Gaining mastery in leadership is organic and has more to do with your belief and how convinced you are. Gaining mastery in leadership is organic and has more to do with your belief and how convinced you are. So how convinced are you? You want to be a leader, you want to lead people. How convinced are you? Do you truly believe enough in yourself? So we can't talk about mastering leadership without talking about self-belief. We can't talk about mastering leadership without talking about conviction. We can't talk about mastering leadership without talking about influence. Influence. Understand, I tell people all the time, right? Understand that everything in life still boils down to leadership. Why are some nations doing well and why are some nations failing? The nations who are failing is due to the lack of structure, lack of leadership system. And the nations that are succeeding seems to have a better leadership structure. So everything in life boils down to leadership. If the family fails today, they will blame the father, right? He's the head of the home. You need to hold on to his assignment. So that's why most times when the family fails, they hardly blame the mom, they hardly blame the mothers, they blame the fathers first, because they expect them to take, to take hold of, to function in their role as parents. So gaining mastery in leadership is organic, it's systematic. It is not, it's not, it doesn't happen, it's not based on magic. It is systematic. You must walk your way through. And I say that again, you must walk your way through. If you are not willing to develop yourself, if you are not willing to build yourself, nobody is willing to build you. Nobody will be willing to build you. If you are not willing to work on you, nobody is willing to work on you. So your conviction is what convinces people to believe or to accept your vision, your ideas, or your goals in life. Okay, I think the network really kind of fluctuate there. All right. I think it was one of the disciples who asked Jesus. He says, what you said, really, those guys are not pleased with it. He says, if the blind leads the blind, both of them will fall into a ditch. If the blind leads the blind, both of them will fall into a ditch. So as a leader, you want to gain mastery or you want to lead people, you must have a sense of clarity. You must have a sense of clarity. You must understand the purpose, the reason why you are leading these guys. Now, it's not based on religion. It's based on systemic order. Not based on religion, it's based on systemic order. Why didn't God command the firmament in the first place? Well, what did he say? He said, let there be light. He created light first. Clarity is needed as a leader. Your clarity is needed. You must be sure, your belief, your conviction. You must be sure as to why you are leading people. You don't just fall into the field of leadership and say you want to start leading people. What is your belief system? What really is guiding, your scope of leadership, your belief of leadership? So there's not something you just think of doing, right? You must understand why you do what you do, right? You must understand why you do what you do. What does it mean to gain mastery in leadership? What does it really mean to gain mastery in leadership? How is this designed to influence our lives, family, community, nations, and world system and order? How do we shift from point A to point B? Why is mastery so organic? Why is gaining mastery in leadership so organic, right? So there are 5 principles of mastery in leadership. I'm going to be, I have 10 principles here, but I'm just going to be sharing 5 principles with us. 5 principles of mastery in leadership. Number 1, in gaining mastery, you fail to rise and you rise to win. Can I say that again? In gaining mastery as a leader, you fail to rise and you rise to win. Failure often allows you to examine what worked, right, or what didn't, even more so than success. It can foster your critical and analytical thinking skills, allowing you to innovate, redirect, and try another way to execute something the next time. So to win is to have failed. Let me say this again. To win is to have failed. No failure, no experience. Can I say this again? No failure, no experience. No failure, no story. You gain mastery by failing. You gain mastery by failing. It takes what, I think I'm just going to pause there. I don't want to read that. That's more, it's more, I don't want people to just start going to be asking me questions. How did you come across that? So, right, you need to understand that to win is to have failed. To win is to have failed, right? So, how to change your order of failure? How do you change your order of failure? I mean, the way people see failure is kind of different, right? What is your definition of the word failure? What's my definition of the word failure? That you fail the first time doesn't mean you should quit. If you really want to gain mastery, you must know what it means to fail. This is not a curse. I'm not cursing anyone. But if you really want to gain mastery, you must know what it means to fail. Failure helps you with new perspectives and ideas on how to do things differently better than the former. Now, this is how you can change your order of failure. Failure helps you with new perspectives and ideas on how to do things differently than the former. Number two, failure helps you to think and rethink. When you fail, you want to think and rethink. Why did I fail? As a matter of fact, the reason why your heart is filled with so much questioning is because you want to understand how things are being done. When you fail the first time, you realize that you are questioning self. Why do you think you are questioning self? Your spirit wants you to succeed. Your spirit wants the best for you. So it's the reason why you must question your previous action, what you need to put to work that you didn't put to work, what you need to do that you have refused to do. So failure helps you to think and to rethink. Failure helps you to learn, unlearn to relearn. Failure helps you to learn, unlearn to relearn. Failure helps you to invent and fail to reinvent. Failure helps you to invent and then you will fail at your invention and then you will invent again. All right. Failure helps you to question reality and outcomes. When you fail, you want to question things, right? When you fail, I mean, even you will question your phone to a point. So if you want to, if you really want to develop strong mastery in leadership, you must understand your niche. You must understand what works for you. You must understand why you do what you do. And all this comes with questioning. What am I born for? What am I created for? What's my assignment on it? So you must ask yourself deep questions. Failure helps you to question reality and outcome. Failure helps you to see clearer and better. When you fail, you know the reason why you failed, right? You get up, you keep walking, you keep moving. You know the reason why you failed. So it helps you see clearer. It helps you see clearer. Failure helps you untie old beliefs that are inconvenient to your growth and success. Failure helps you to untie old beliefs. The reason why people keep failing and failing and failing and failing and failing might be due to old beliefs, old traditions, old customs they've held on to. Beliefs that doesn't longer work for this new generation. So failure helps you untie old beliefs. So when you fail and you start meeting people, what happened? Why, hello sir, this thing really doesn't work for me. What should I do? And this day I will start telling you, your idea might be wrong. It's not that you've been possessed. It's just simple idea, right? I remember I was having a conversation with a sister a few weeks back. You know this idea of all men are the same. Oh, guy, she's laughing. Don't mind her. All men are the same. All ladies are the same. This was really a critical conversation we're having. And everything boils down to their beliefs, ideas. That's what they think. Due to their past experience, due to what a guy has done to them in the past, due to what a lady has done to the guy in the past. So you hear all kind of, you know, all kind of deadly beliefs. All guys are the same, all women are the same. It's due to beliefs. So failure helps you untie old beliefs that are inconvenient to your growth and success. Failure helps you gain mastery over time through numerous trials in trying times. No trials, no mastery. No trials, no mastery. So if you want to gain mastery in leadership, you must keep trying. You must keep trying. That's why I use the word must. It's a must you try. It's a must you give it a try. It's a must you get yourself involved. If you want to call people in to assist you to support the dream, fine, call them. Call them. I remember when I started my organization, you know, once I'm done with every session, I go back to ask my team, how did I perform? How was my performance? I wasn't shy at all. And I remember a few weeks ago, I was holding a program, and after the session, I went to meet the person who was live with me. How was my performance? So the person said, "Oh, you did great." I said, "I don't want to hear you did great. I'm used to hearing you did great. I don't want to hear it. Hey, tell me, what did you feel? How did you feel? What did you learn? What do you think I should do better?" The person was not able to speak up that, "Oh, this is what I learned." I was able to get the real truth. I said, "That's what I'm looking for. I don't want it to impress me." So as leaders, you must, if you want to gain mastery in leadership, question what you do. Seek for feedback. Because like I said, people can easily dictate if you are bold about what you do or not. If there is enough conviction in your heart or not, people can easily tell if what you are saying is true or not. So you must be a person for feedback. Seek for feedback. Failure helps you imagine differently. You realize that if you're afraid to a certain extent, you start imagining differently. Your relationship with people, becomes different. How you relate with yourself becomes different. In fact, failure will humble you. Did you get it? Failure humbles people. Failure humbles people. That is when people feel, maybe a task is given to a person to do, and the person feel, at fulfilling the task, there's a way they feel about themselves. They feel inadequate. They feel they are not capable enough. Failure humbles people. But that shouldn't be the goal for every leader. If you want to gain mastery in leadership or in whatever you do, don't be scared of failure. Give it a try. If you fail, come back again, bounce back. That's what defines your state of boldness, your state of mind. It defines who you are in the first place. You failed at this, you bounce back. Several There are several exams I've written in my life that I had to rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. So, due to what happened to me in the past, I'm able to define failure in a different way. I'm able to define failure in a different way. You can fail, right? But don't let failure define your life. Be the one to define failure, and let God's word define you. Let God's word define who you are. All right. See, the award-winning poets, Maya Angelou once said, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are." At times, it is necessary you encounter some defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, how you can still come out of it. She says, it is necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it. One of the most famous, there are people who try to invent stuff in life and they failed at it, right? They failed multiple times, but they didn't let the failure define their invention, right? They didn't let what they've been through, the failure in the past, to define their invention. And one of them is Thomas Edison, right? Who created with inventing the carbon telephone transmitter, light bulb, and phonograph. In fact, it took 1,000 unsuccessful attempts before he created the first light bulb. 1,000 unsuccessful attempts before he created the first light bulb. It took Sir James Dyson 5,126 vacuum design attempts before he could get a properly working vacuum. So these guys did not let the failure define their invention. They were able to bounce up again, bounce back. You know what? I'm going to try again. You know what? I'm going to do this again. So as a leader, don't be scared of failure. See, people will come at you. You can't escape it. People would, judge your craft. There's nothing you can do about it. The best help you can give to yourself is not to focus on what people are saying. Focus on what your spirit is telling you. Keep trying. Keep trying. Keep trying. Now, you need to stop feeding on assumptions. Stop feeding on assumptions. There's this popular quote that says, assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. You know when they say something is the lowest form of knowledge? Assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. But I say, you know what? I think I'm going to give assumption a new definition this time. Assumption to me is a non-knowledge. It's better for me to come to not even think anything at all than to assume. So assumption to me personally is a non-knowledge. If you want to gain mastery as a leader, you must know what it means to fail. Mastery comes with more trials. You have to keep trying. And don't be scared to fail. All right? Don't be scared to fail. Don't be scared to fail. I know you want to get used to success. It's fine. I mean, there's nothing bad about it, right? There's nothing wrong about it. But hey, failure is real. Success is real, failure is real. So you must understand your niche, find your niche, understand your strengths and weakness, right? Know what your focus is. Be aware that failure is visible, but your choice and response to failure determines how great you become. All right, determines how great you become. Thank you so much for listening. I'm done with my session now, and we're just gonna, go for like 3-minute break. Then we invite in the second speaker to give us what she have on ground. Thank you. Thank you.
Shock the world. I'm talking to that athlete. I'm talking to that administrator. I'm talking to that nurse, that doctor. I'm talking to that student. I'm talking to that communicator. I'm talking to that pioneer, that inventor. I'm talking to that entrepreneur. I'm talking to that preacher. I'm talking to that person who refuses to stay where they are. I'm talking to that person that doesn't have a problem laying in obscurity, because you know that when you come out of the dark room, all eyes on you. We live in a culture of busyness, distraction, and noise. And sometimes the only way something's going to change is if we disappear. Sometimes you got to delete the app. Sometimes you have to walk away. Sometimes you have to fall back into the dark room and focus on you. Everybody wants destiny. Everybody wants manifestation. Everybody wants fulfillment. Everybody wants the next level in the relationship and a higher quality of living. But nobody wants to eliminate distractions. Nobody wants to disappear for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and get into a place where you can focus on just you. What if you could just shut out every distraction? What if you could just shut out the world for just a season and focus on you? A man is rewarded in public for what he does in private. Can you unplug for just a moment and focus on you? Focus on what matters. Why are you here? What is your destiny? The reason why you don't see it, the reason why it has not manifested, the reason why you are so frustrated is because you have not been willing to forsake all that you've been called to forsake and to follow through behind closed doors. Sure, you can talk about it. Sure, you can plan it. Sure, you can write it down. Sure, you can go to the conference and hear about it. You can read about it. But at some juncture, you have to disappear and put the work in and come back and shock everybody that doubted you. I'm talking to that man, that woman, that boy, that girl who feels the fire in their belly. It's time for you to
Hi.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, you are good to go now. It's a
Okay.
turn. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. I don't take the opportunity for granted. Thank you, Daini, and thank you to your team. So my topic today is, in case my voice starts to shake, just know that it's nerves. Because this is not my forte, but we're going to do it. My topic today is the impact of competence and relevance in leadership. And I believe that we already know that you don't have to be a titled leader per se. You don't have to be a general, president, founder, CEO, whatever, to be a leader. As a matter of fact, we're all leaders in one capacity or another. Now, competence and relevance, there are two very crucial factors that impact the effective leadership, and they work hand in hand. There's no way to separate them. Even though sometimes they can be interchangeable, but they work hand in hand. They're different and they work hand in hand. Now, if you can be competent but irrelevant, but you cannot be relevant without competence. So as a leader, once you become irrelevant, you are automatically replaced. If they cannot replace you directly, they simply just leave and follow someone else. Whether you know what you're doing or not. If you don't have a balance of both, the people who you're leading, be it your teammates, your colleagues, your followers, your company, organization, they'll leave. So it's important that we're able to find the right balance between these two things. So if the skill that you have, the knowledge capacity does not translate into meaningful impact, then your competence is irrelevant. So you might be very skilled at something that is very useless. And then you're busy working really hard at that thing. So, and if that becomes the case, it's only a matter of time before people begin to move away. Now, Matt Beaton, I think that's his name. I hope I got the name right. Matt Beaton, he gave a TED talk where he talked about the common denominator of great leaders. And in that talk, he said something in the lines of the perception of yourself has to be as close to other people's reality of it as possible. So, and I quite agree with that, because as a leader, you cannot afford to say, I don't care what other people think of me. Even Jesus asked his disciples, who do people say I am? So it's important that we are getting feedback, just like Daniel said previously, that we're getting feedback and that we're sure that whatever it is that we're doing and how it is that we're running our activities, team, and all of that is in correlation with what they think it should be as it relates to what is relevant at the time. So at the core of relevance, if you think you can hang the stars and the moon, but your team people don't, your team members don't think so, then there's a mismatch between your perception and the reality of what the situation actually is. Now we know that in say the 21st century, for example, it took an entire human being, or sometimes like a team of people. For example, if you watch the movie Hidden Figures, it took a lot of people to do the things that these our small laptops now can do very, very easily now. So human beings then were called computers. Now we have devices that we can just throw in our bags and just move along. These were very intelligent people, very highly skilled people. But right now there's no place for such people. Their skill, no matter how unique it is, or no matter how important and how top notch it is, it's no longer relevant. So despite that intelligence, as in this particular case, their competence is now irrelevant. This is the reason why I said previously that if you could be competent and irrelevant, but if you're relevant, there's no way that you'll not be competent. They work hand in hand. Now the same thing could be said for King Saul in the Bible. Israel needed a king, and he came along and they said, oh, this guy fits the bill. This is what a king should look like. And even though he was competent at the time by the people's standard, the moment he lost relevance, David was appointed. So even though he was still on the throne and he had already been reduced to a mere placeholder, he was just there. He was just bidding his time. The Bible in Psalms 72 said, David shepherded them with integrity of heart, and with skillful hands he led them. So even though this guy Saul was doing such a great job in his mind, or at least in his capacity at the time, the moment he was no longer relevant, someone who had skills, who was skilled in what he was doing, was appointed and being groomed in preparation to take over for him. And even in the secular world, we see that in businesses, a founder or a CEO can just be replaced, for whatever reason, which can be summarized to you're no longer relevant. And the board is saying, we don't need you anymore, just go. Not because you don't know what you're doing, or you don't know, you're not capable in certain arenas or in certain aspects of the job that you do, but whatever it is that you're doing no longer suits the bill for them. Remember what I said earlier, if your perception of yourself, it has to be as close to reality with the perception of other people when it comes to you. It has to be as close to that as possible. So once you lose relevance, it's only a matter of time, like I said earlier, before we are replaced. Now, before we talk further on relevance, let's talk a bit about competence. Now, what is competence within the scope of leadership? In other words, competence is the skill that you have as a leader. Competence refers to the ability to perform tasks, make informed decisions, and to possess necessary skills and knowledge required for that role that you are. The Bible in Titus chapter 1 from verse 7 to 8. Yeah. It says, let me try and open that. It is, yeah, it says that since an overseer manages God's household, he must be blameless, not overbearing, not quick tempered, not given to drunkenness, not violent, not pursuing dishonest gain. Rather, he must be hospitable, one who loves what is good, who is self controlled, upright, holy, and disciplined. So, now the beauty of scriptures is that it is applicable in every aspect of our life. Competence is such that everything that you need to function in that place that you are in, you have it. So be it relevant skill, whatever skill that is necessary, you have it to tackle the day-to-day responsibility of that position. Now, this can be demonstrated, for example, in proficiencies. Oh, English. In proficiencies and expertise. So your people will have confidence in your ability to lead them effectively if they perceive that, or if they are confident that you know what you're doing. It means that you're proficient in technical skills, interpersonal skills, problem solving skills, decision making skills, strategic thinking, emotional intelligence, and all the other stuff that's relevant for that position that you occupy as a leader. And so it's not just about coming in to just back orders and say do this, get that. Do you know what you're talking about? If someone does something that is not correct, can you identify that this is not right? Because it's not just overseeing. Being a leader is not an overseeing position, as it were. You need to be really involved in what happens. You need to know what it is. Maybe not necessarily hands-on involved, like say for example, you're not the accountant and the IT guy and everything, but you understand how all of these guys work, such that when they give you feedbacks, you can easily identify that something is not right here. So, for example, in entrepreneurship classes, you're taught that you ought to understand the overall processes of your business, production, marketing, accounting, everything. Nothing should look to you like abracadabra. That's what a leader. That's the kind of position that a leader feels. It feels like you're an expert in every field, even though you're even though you're not. You might not be an expert in all the aspects of your business, but you should know enough to be able to say no, this does not work. Yes, this work. This is good. This be able to make informed decisions. Informed decision is not just what they tell you. Say one, two, three people come together and tell you do it like this and do it like that. Informed decision is that you have some sort of knowledge about what's going on. So, for example, a perfect example, in my opinion, is my boss in Nigeria. I consider him to be my best boss ever. Actually, not because of financial incentives or anything, but because of the kind of skills and knowledge. If nobody can contest it with that guy, as far as I'm concerned, because he's a much older architect, so he's not exactly an expert in these modern day tools that we work with now. So things like say AutoCAD, SketchUp, all the software, all these modeling tools and stuff. He's not proficient, as it were, in using those tools, but he could always speak out when something is not working. When something is not right. He could always tell you this is not it. And that comes with the experience, of course. But he's an expert when it comes to sketching. Like, his sketches are so good. They're so good that they're so good, and they're so correct in terms of scale and proportion, to the point where sometimes when he sketches, to convey his ideas and stuff, we just take it to the side like that. Like, you can be sure that the sketch is right, the scale is right, the proportion is right. When it comes to sides, he does not need a plumb to tell him that this does not look very straight. Of course, that every person on site or someone who does some level of supervision should be able to do that. But If he says it, you know that you can take that information to the bank. I've had bosses where you need to go and confirm that thing because it might not be sure. It might not be 100% as it were. But for me, he was a very rounded, well-rounded boss. You can't overwhelm him with anything. Is it the numbers? Is it the accounting? Of course, he's running a business. It makes sense that he understands everything that works in that business. But beyond that, even in the modern things that you're working on, he can bring his experience to play. He can't spend his time now to start learning how to do SketchUp and how to do all of that. But the experience that he has with his own expertise, he's able to, transform it somehow. He's able to mold it in such a way that it is still relevant to whatever it is that you need right now. So that's what proficiency and expertise is. So that your team, they are so confident in you. It is that confidence that they have in you that influences their motivation to be excellent too, because they know that you will identify a lack of it. You identify when that excellence is not there, as opposed to some leaders or some who might not even be so sure. It makes no sense, yeah, but you'll be surprised in how there's so many people who run teams and they're not exactly they don't have a grasp on all of the things that's going on. Okay, so let's talk about problem solving. It's another aspect of competence. A competent leader should excel in problem solving and decision making, because the analytical skills that's involved in being a leader is such that they're able to address complex issues, they're able to identify opportunities, they're able to devise effective strategies, to handle whatever it is. They're able to think on their feet quickly. Now, I was listening to Gary V. I don't know if we're very conversant with him, and he would always say that the problem with some employers is that they think that the employees work for them when that's not the case. He said, you work for your employee. In my mind, I'm always like, what's this guy talking about? Why are you talking about guy? But then he said, as a CEO, as a founder, as a boss, as a leader, you are there to solve their problems. When you solve their problems, they will do their jobs better. So what does this mean? It means that with your quick decision making, with your analytical skills, you're able to address complex issues. Like I've said previously, you're able to identify opportunities, you're able to put together strategies, and above all, you're able to care more for your guys than you expect them to care for you. The Bible in Matthew talked about Matthew chapter 20, said, whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave. That's service. I think that's is what Gary Vee was trying to talk about. How that you're working for these guys, it's not the other way around, in case you're missing it. And so you should remember that your team members, they can go anywhere. They can follow any leader, they can join any team, they can choose to be with anyone, but they chose to be with you. They chose you as the leader. They do not work for you, you work for them. So solve their problems, and they will in turn solve the problems of the organization or team. So what problems are they facing? At the time that you find that certain organizations, they try to put together stuff like team bonding activities, help their team members relax. Sometimes the boss might ask you, some bosses, not every boss actually, some bosses can ask you, what can I do to make your life easier? Some offices give you, if you have a child, they provide kindergarten. It's a problem that you have that can stop you from doing your own work. So they try to make life easy for you so that you can make life easy for the organization. Generally, that's what leadership is, that you serve first before you expect any service in return. Actually, you shouldn't expect any service in return. You should serve, and every other thing will take care of itself by itself. So in simple terms, competence is simply why someone would call you for a job, if that's the way I'm trying to wrap it up as a sentence. It's the reason why someone can call you, not will. It's the reason why someone can call you for a specific job, to fill a specific position. It's the reason why someone can decide to follow you, because you're competent in this particular area. Relevance, however, is why someone sees the need to follow you, why someone sees the need to call you for that job. So relevance is simply aligning your skills, the needs and expectation of your team, to ensuring that all of that aligns. So leadership and followership, it has to, like we said previously, your perception of yourself, it has to be close to the reality of what is being perceived by the guys that you're working in. So leadership actions, your decisions, your communication, it needs to be clear. Now, in communicating all of this and ensuring that you're able to align all of this properly with what is necessary at the time, we'll be talking about adaptability. Now, leaders who are adaptable, they're able to change with the circumstances, they're able to change, they're able to navigate the challenges that comes as they come, and they're able to learn, they're able to grow, they're able to evolve, they're able to embrace new challenges without worry, because they are fluid, they're very adaptable. Now, if you're that person that says things like, "Ha, me, this is who I am," you know, that's how I do my things, then and leadership might not just be for you, because as a leader, you must not just do what you can. You cannot afford to always stick to the status quo. The quality of adaptation means that you're fluid. It means that you can adjust accordingly as the time demands. So if you remember, you remember BlackBerry. I know almost all of us use BlackBerry at some point. They were the market leader in mobile communications industry, and I had one then. It was a really cool product. Was Peng at the time, you know, but they were not fluid. They did not evolve. Things were not changing. They were probably saying, "This is how we do things around here." Now they have become a reference point to anyone now that's talking about how not to run the business. They now refer to BlackBerry and Nokia and those guys. Although Nokia is trying to come back now, but BlackBerry is a perfect example of how not to run the business. And I believe that somebody in that company must have been telling them, see, I think why don't we try this? Things are changing. The market is changing. I think we can do ABC. And then some people would have shut that person down. What do you know? That's the thing with being a leader. You have to learn. You have to be willing to learn from everyone. The Bible says, in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. Leaders are lifelong learners. You learn from everything. You're not just learning from books or business schools and stuff. You're not just learning from people higher up. You're learning vertically and across board as well. Leaders are lifelong learners. Now, in their learning, they need to also learn effective communication. Now, leaders who cannot effectively communicate their ideas, their vision, their actions, and all of that to their teams, is a leader that will lose that team very soon, because people will follow you if they at least understand what you're talking about, if they at least understand you. So you have to be able to you have to be able to communicate clearly, communicate your visions clearly, your ideas clearly, your goals clearly. They need to understand what they're following you for. The people don't just stand up and follow someone for the fun of it, or just because they like the way this person looks. It has to benefit them, of course, because we are selfish people. We're selfish as humans. But beyond that, they need to understand why they're following. You need to understand what they're following. Now, as we're talking about relevance, I think relevance is also two-faced. It's a two-way thing. So your own relevance as a leader is important. It's important, and it also has to inspire relevance in your team. Does your team members feel like they are needed? Do they feel like they are relevant within this organization, or within your team, or within your business, or whatever? This is where delegation comes in, because the problem with a lot of leaders is that they do not trust anyone but themselves. Anyone, if it's not me, nobody can do this thing. They don't trust anyone but themselves to do the job right. So they hardly delegate, hardly, you know, allow people do their jobs. And this turns out that leaders who do this, they burn out very quickly. You can't even sleep. You can't even rest with two eyes closed, because you're constantly worried. What if they mess up? What if they don't do it right? What if they don't do, you're just constantly in your head worrying about what if. This is the reason why some people some leaders, they micromanage. Why is English coming out difficult this evening? Some leaders, they micromanage their team. Now, if you cannot expect consciousness of responsibility from your team members, then you're not doing something right. Because the power of accountability is stronger and better than trying to fix things before they even go wrong, trying to organize everywhere before anything happens. But it means that you need to get the right people. You need to get the right people on your team with the right skills. And you need to also allow them do their job. You need to place a demand on their sense of responsibility. But then, even if something goes wrong, assuming that you have delegated and then something doesn't work, you also need to be able to be accountable. For example, if you have to report to someone else, you have to be able to be accountable to those people, your clients, for example, your partner, whoever it is that you're answerable to say, we'll fix this. That's better than hovering, being that helicopter boss. I find that when you give competent people, let me not just say people randomly, when you give competent people responsibility, they tend to rise to the occasion without you having to hover around them. So if you are confident in delegating, or rather, if you're not confident in delegating, then you need to take a step back, and begin to think, ask yourself why am I this worried about delegating tasks? Is it because my team members are not competent? Is there something wrong with the people I have on my team? If that's a yes, if it's a yes to that question, then what's the solution to that? Do we need to do some training? Do we need to reshuffle people and do some sort of reshuffling so that people move to where they have more strength? Or do we just need new people entirely? Whatever the case may be, we need to be able to solve the problem such that you're able to delegate and you're able to focus on the main things that demand your attention, as opposed to having to do everything. If I'm not here, these guys can't do this. Oh, have you called this person? Have you sent this email? If you have competent people in your team, you don't need all of that. They just need to give you feedbacks. At least that's how I think about it. What can you do to improve your ability to have confidence in your team? It's one of the things that I believe that every leader should think about, especially when it looks like you're beginning to get burnt out. You're beginning to do so many things. Sometimes you're shouting, if I'm not here, you cannot do anything right. If we are saying that something is wrong, something is not right, is it the guys, is it the team members, or is it me? So, like I said earlier, relevance goes both ways. So, as a leader, you have to be relevant. You have to know what you know. You have to know your onions. You have to know what it is you're doing, and what it is you're doing has to align with what it is that is relevant at the time. And your team has to see you that way. But they too have to be relevant as well. You have to see it that way. You have to see them as relevant. You have to ensure that they feel relevant, and they too have to feel relevant. It's a complex structure, I understand, but if they do not feel relevant, they'll leave. At least I will leave. If if I'm in an organization and it looks like I'm not adding any value, my boss doesn't trust my ability to deliver on whatever job that I'm going to leave. Generally, leaders who have confidence in what it is that they know and what it is that they do, and they are confident in how relevant whatever it is they're doing is at the time, and they're confident in their team, it's easy for them to run the organization, be it a business, be it an organization, be it a team. It is easier to do all of that. So this is how we said competence and relevance has to work hand in hand. We need to know what we're doing, both as a leader, and we need to ensure that our team members know what they're doing. We need to be relevant in whatever it is that we are an expert in. Our team members also have to be relevant in and they have to feel that way too. So, in summary, leaders have to know what they're doing and what is expected. They need to create a dynamic environment, and they need to be flexible themselves as well. They need to communicate clearly. They need to inspire a sense of responsibility, and this sense of responsibility will enable their team members and the guys who they're working with to come together, and all of this is able to ensure that they're impacting, or they're having a lasting impact on their organization. So that's the end of my topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Oge. That was impactful, and that was impacting, right? And I want to kindly address the audience again. If you are streaming live on YouTube, please kindly subscribe to the YouTube channel and also invite your friend. You can't be the only person here streaming us live. So invite your friend, invite a person to be here. The person doesn't have to be your best of friend, but at least try as much as possible to share the link with someone who is close to you. Thank you so much for that encouraging word. It was encouraging, it was educating, and it was impacting, right? And me as a leader, I picked some very valid points here that I am also going to apply to my leadership skills, right? So thank you so much. At least you gave me some expos tonight.
You pay money. You come and pay for the expo.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And I hope when next we invite you, you will be able to, you know, accept our invitation.
Yeah,
Thank you so
sure.
much.
Sure.
One thing
Anytime.
one thing you said that really stood out for me, of course, was the last point. I didn't know how you kind of work on your content, but it's like the most important point was what you said last. You understand? All the content are amazing, but the last one you said, leaders, have to know what they are doing. Leaders have to know what they are doing. Some just say they are leader. They have no idea what they are doing. They don't even know where they are going in the first place. No sense of clarity, no sense of direction. So they don't know what they are doing. They are just doing it just to, I don't know, to impress people, to please people. I don't know, but some don't even know what they are doing in the first place. And that's why there's a whole lot of confusion. And once a leader is confused, your team will be confused. Talk more of the people you are leading. No wonder Jesus said, if the blind leads the blind, both of them will fall into a ditch. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the truth. So a lot of leaders don't even have um, that sense of direction, and they are too proud to seek for help. They are too proud to seek, to ask for feedback. Like I said when I was giving my own message, I'm not really scared to seek for feedback. How did I perform in the last meeting? What did I say that you guys are yet to pick, are yet to understand? I just want to know where I am. So leaders really need to focus more on themselves, number one, and understand why they are doing what they do. I was having a session few weeks back. So sorry, I keep using the word few weeks back because I host sessions at least 4 days in a week. So And if I keep using a few weeks, so that means I'm always busy here, And I told them, I said, if you are not willing to bleed, don't lead. If you are not willing to bleed, do not attempt leadership, because leadership is all about bleeding. And that bleeding starts with identifying who you are and what you want to do. See, the purpose of the reason for your bleeding is because you've identified your niche. That's why you bleed as a leader. Now, what I'm doing here tonight, I'm bleeding. Oge is here bleeding, right? Sister Book is here bleeding. Now, the bleeding doesn't mean you are bleeding physically. It means you are pushing out content. You are giving information. You're adding value to people's life. That's what it means to bleed as a leader. So, which means if you are not willing to pay the price, don't lead. Because leadership is about paying the price. You have to pay the price. It's not about your feelings or your emotion. You've just got to do what you are led to do. That's the point. So I realized that most leaders are trying to lead based on how they feel. It is not really based on how you feel, pardon. It is actually about your willingness to accept responsibility. And that's true. Most people are just responsible for the wrong reason, you know. So thank you so much, Oge. I really appreciate you for dishing out such amazing content. God bless you, and God will keep increasing your wisdom, your knowledge, and just 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 spread your wings and do more.
Amen. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right. So, guys, we are bringing in the third speaker. All right. I hope you are writing stuff down. I hope you are jotting things down, right? just write something, right? And don't just write. In one of my sessions, I said, leaders don't talk. Leaders don't. They don't just talk to be heard, right? Leaders don't just talk so they can be heard. Leaders, leaders communicate to pass out value. Leaders communicate to add value to the lives of people. So what we are doing tonight, we are not just talking, we are communicating. This to me actually is what they call communication, because you are learning from the knowledge and the value and everything, right? So leaders don't just talk just for them to be heard. Leaders communicate to be understood. Leaders communicate to be understood. Leaders communicate to add value to the lives of people. All right. So I'm going to be bringing in the third speaker in the next, in the next 5 minutes. So stay around, don't go anywhere. Catch you up soon.
Have to go without food. life executed. There are going to be times where you give everything you have, and everything that you have is not enough. Push through the pain, push through the anguish, push through the brokenness. Do not stop. It's the no quit mentality.
So they want you to come on their side. They want you to believe in their ideas of what you think of yourself. They
We are in for the last session. For the last session. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, for staying through. I really appreciate that. I mean, it takes a lot for you to abandon whatever it is you are doing to be here tonight. And I personally, I do not take that for granted. I mean, there are times even if I join sessions like these, I know what it takes to want to learn from people I've not even seen before. I know what it takes to want to devote my time to, gain one or two things from what they are saying. And that's just that's your curiosity of life. That's your curiosity, that's your desire to want to learn more. You want to know more. You want to understand what is going on in your immediate environment. You want to understand, how people relate with each other. Thank you so much for staying through. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell and invite a person to be here. All right. So we really do not know who are coming in here in the future to watch this program, right? But I heard you ahead of time. If you are coming in the next 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 4 years to stream this particular program, right? Subscribe, share. So I'm speaking ahead of time. All right. All right. So I'm hearing the mic now. So that's Sister Bukola Oni. Welcome over to you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Thank you so much, Brother David, and thank you, Sister Oge, for this evening. And it's really an amazing time to really share things about leadership with people. The goal of mastery in leadership, just like I used to say, that leadership is not all about all knowing. You're not all knowing when you're a leader, but your ability, your resilience, your ability to move on when others says no, your ability to keep going, keep striving when you didn't even see the road clearly. That is what makes you a leader. And leader is not in what you're doing, in maybe giving commands. Leader is your ability, the inability you have, the inherent thing you have, you possess within you to lead people. And this evening, I'm going to be talking about a very good part of leadership that says the spirit of resilience. The spirit of resilience. You know, I was watching a program, I think a few days ago, and the lady was talking about consistency is actually a grace. Consistency carries it takes a spirit to be consistent in whatever you're doing. So resilience is a spirit that you need to have as a leader. What do I mean by resilience? Resilience is that your ability, that inward ability that you have to bounce back from any challenge that you might be facing, any challenge at all. Is this trait that comes with every circumstance that you are able to bounce back no matter the circumstance. You are able to bounce back no matter who is saying what. You are able to bounce back even when the goal is not going anymore, when things are not even in the way you want them anymore. Bro David has started um this community for a long time. It takes a leader to really look at this and say, okay, I want to keep going. He cannot say he has not faced any challenge. He cannot say he has not faced any difficulty. He has. But your ability to keep striving, even when the going is not, when the going is not good. There is a say that when the good, when the good is not going, also the going gets good or something. There's something very close to that, you know. So we have to have this ability of resilience. We have to be able to navigate through challenges, through uncertain times, through determination, with our determination, with the grace that God has given unto us as leader. And leadership is also a grace. It's not something you can just meddle with. It's not something you just see yourself as, oh, I just want to lead some people. There's a lady that opened the channel, and I think there are about 87 people on the channel. And they were like, okay, they ask questions when she said something, other people are against it, some people are supporting, some people are just quiet. And she was like, I don't think I can handle these people. I don't think I can even handle this channel anymore. I told her something. I said, then maybe you shouldn't have started. Because why start when you know you don't have the capacity to go on? These are human beings we're talking about. These 87 individuals we're talking about. How do you want to bring them together? Because there are so many things that is clogged into every individual that as a leader, you must have the grace to actually come down to everybody's level and deal with them according to their level and deal with them according to their capacity. It takes only a leader to do that. If you are just anyhow person, you can just say, oh, I don't like the way this person talked to me, I block you. I don't like the way this person, I don't this. No, you should have that spirit that is able to understand every language of each person. And as a customer support, I think I don't know how people view customer support specialist, but one thing I realized about customer support specialist is we are able to listen to the unsaid words of a customer. As a leader, that should be a trait you have. Be able to listen to the unsaid words of your people, unsaid words of your community, unsaid words, the undertones. Some people can just tell you, oh, I don't like the way this thing is, this, that, and you will actually need a harsh tone, while another person will come stating the same thing, and you will need a very, very quiet tone. So how do you go about it? How do you go about it? How do you navigate through that? Leadership is beyond we just coming together and forming group. You have to have the spirit that is adaptive to what people are saying, not for you to follow them, but for you to pick the ones that is going to be 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 um be of advantage to your journey. That is going to be what you need, that is in line with the vision of what God has called us to do. As a leader, you set the tone of the entire team. Just like Sister Ogia said, you have to, because you set tone of the other team, you have to have confidence. You have to have confidence. You don't just talk, you don't just speak anything. Have confidence and determination. Have this determination that no matter what comes, I'm going to scale through. No matter what comes, we are going to go through. No matter what comes, just like Moses. If you remember the story of Moses in the Bible, he was taking the people, the Israelites, and it got to a stage they were talking anyhow to him. Oh, if you know you can't save us, maybe you should leave us here. If you know you can't continue with this group, maybe you should just delete it. If you know the way people talk these days is not even very encouraging. So people will just come to you like from the deepest part of their life. They will talk to you and you're like, what is going on here? But as a leader, you should be able, even it was the followers that made Moses not get to the promised land because he was listening to people. He wasn't able to control his emotion. You see, one thing I like about God is one thing I like general God is the leader, of course. One thing I like about him is he knows what you need and he gave you something called the fruit of the spirit. And the first thing in the fruit of the spirit is self-control. I don't know if we have ever checked it. The first thing he said in the fruit of the spirit, of course, some versions can rearrange, but self-control. So as a leader, in challenges, in the waters, in the fire, have self-control, have confidence, be able to have the inner strength that will push you forward, and that will not just make the leaders or make the followers say, "Ah, what kind of leader is this? What kind of leader is this?" So it takes the spirit of God, the spirit of resilience, the spirit that doesn't stop, the spirit that finishes whatever is started. That is the spirit you're talking about. So now I'm going to be talking about some advantages of resilient leaders. What are the things you see in resilient leaders? Number one thing you will see as a if you want to be a resilient leader is not you have to be motivating and inspiring to your team. You have to definitely be motivating and inspiring to your team. You shouldn't be this leader that will like before anything happens, you've already given up even before anything starts. You have to motivate them. Oh, this river we can't go through it. Even if you know from the deepest part of your heart that this thing I don't think I can do it, you have to as a leader say, you know what, we will scale it. You know what, we can do this. You know what, we are able. You know what, this thing is possible. You have to tell your followers, you have to be able to inspire them. Let them see you. Why do people call mentors? Because they feel that these people have gone through what I am going through right now, and they are able to guide me through whatever I need right now to do. You have to be inspiring, you have to be motivating, not motivating them because in a negative direction or something. No, but see, spirits spiritual things are contagious. Spiritual things are contagious. And when they sense fear, when they sense fear in your life, when they sense fear in what you do, it doesn't give them confidence. But when they sense confidence, when their spirit sense confidence in what you do, they move with you. They go with you. They go with you. There is no way you can say you want to be a leader when you are not inspiring your followers. When you're not like a mentor. I'm not going to put mentor now because so many people have mentors. But a leader should be a mentor. You should be someone that can be looked up to. Should be someone that when you are in anything, you can say, "Oh, this person has touched my life. This person can do this thing." That is that's one major thing about a leader, a resilient leader. If you want to be a resilient leader and you want to gain mastery in leadership, you have to motivate your followers. You have to inspire your followers. You have to tell them, you have to be affirmative in whatever you're doing. You don't have to say, "Oh, now we are tired, let's go on." No, when it's not time to sleep, then don't sleep. When it's time to move, move and make it prompt. The second thing I'm going to talk about is a leader that is resilient has to be able to adapt to change. The first thing we know, and one thing about change is what? Change is constant and is inevitable. We can't do without change in this world. Everybody's changing. So when you started with a team of three. When you say yes, they say yes. When you say no, they say no. When you say don't do that, they don't do it. When you say yeah, do that, do it. But after you started expanding and you became 10, you became 15, you became 35, you became 1,000. You shouldn't expect the same yes to be yes. Some people might stand up against you and tell you no. You should be able to adapt to different changes in the journey of your leadership. You should be able to adapt to anything. Not that you're succumbing to challenges, no, but you're adapting to challenges. They are two different things. Succumbing to a situation is different from you adapting to it. Just like I said earlier, you come down to the level of the people you're dealing with so that you can deal with them at the level of their need. You come down to their level so that you can deal with them at the level of their need. It doesn't mean you're succumbing to them, no. Oh, this person is wailing. Look for how you can help. Look at how this you can take advices from this, and now sit down and see how it can really help you and make a meaningful change to that journey, to that community, to that channel. The next thing is a leader should not make decision under pressure. Never do that. Don't ever make decision under pressure. When they ask you a question, and that's one thing I think all leaders should have. Leaders, we don't know everything. So when people ask you question, I'm going to get back to you on that is not a wrong answer. I will get back to you on that is not a wrong answer. If you don't know it, tell, oh, I'm going to get back to you on that. Just give me a few minutes. Give me, and that these are the things I actually do often, because talking to so many teens, and they will ask you question like, yeah, Omo, it's no more in my generation. I don't even know how to answer. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll get back to you on this. And by the time I get back to them, they were like, Caesar Alpha. Like, sincerely, it's not as if I knew the answer, but I had to go and rethink and thought about my own life when I was there, and thought like, so saying I'll get back to you is not a problem. Don't see it as a weakness. Don't see that as a failure. Just like Bro David said, even if you see it as a failure, it's just another time for you to climb. Is a stepping stone. When you give them, it's better you give them good answer than give them wrong answer. Give them good answer later than give them wrong answer immediately. It doesn't make you right still. It doesn't. So you shouldn't act under pressure. That's why you have that zeal, you have that spirit in you. Be tough, not hard. I think, is that the right way? Be tough, but not hard. Like no, like but let them know that, oh, that guy, you can't just do anything anyhow. Just like bro David now. No, there are some talks we've been talking, and like, there's no. I'm like, okay, okay. You will see the leadership in him. Is firm when it comes to decision making. He's firm. You can't just go to his head and say, I want to change your head. No. I hope, I hope, I hope, I hope the favor will not do anything of such. That favor we talked about. Okay, so the next one is you have to build trust and credibility. You should be a kind of leader that people will be able to trust you. They'll be able to trust your judgment. They will be able to say, okay, I know sis okay, when I go to her, I get tangible results. When I go to I'm in a group now, is immerse inner cycle. And why I joined is because of the community I see, the way people are, the way people are living, the way people are living their lives. I so much love it. And I watched DDK, I saw the way she is, and I really loved her. I was like, okay, this is someone you can really say this person is has credibility. When she says something, that is what she is. She's firm with her things. She won't lie just because she wants to get something from you. No, you have to be a leader that people can trust. You have to be a leader that you are like you are there, you're top notch. Let me put it that way. Don't be a leader that like don't be don't be like some choir leaders. When I was in Nigeria, there's this choir leader is in a church that is very popular in Nigeria like that. So the guy is not trustworthy because of the things he does with the girls in church, and he still sees himself as a leader. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about a leader that you can easily put your heart to, a leader that when you're going through anything, you can easily call and say, bro, I think I need your help in this situation. Sis, I think I need your help in this situation. And when they talk to you, it's like somebody pour cold water inside of your body. It's like somebody does something sweet to you. You won't even need to talk to. I used to tell people that if you have one good person in your life, one good leader in your life, most likely you won't have any problem. Most likely. And most of the time, your husband, your wife might not actually fit in the position. It's best for them to fit in the position. But all these, bro, don't castigate me for this, but all these men now, they don't know how to be a leader. They only know how to be a husband. You understand? So they need to train to be a leader. You understand? They need to train to be a leader. So let's not dwell on that. And the final thing I'm going to talk about concerning things that a leader must have, a resilient spirit, is you must be willing to learn from your failure. You must be willing to learn from your failure. Brother David spoke about it a lot, and be willing to learn from your failure. Failure doesn't mean downfall. Failure doesn't mean the end of the world. Failure doesn't mean your own has finished. No, as a leader, failure means there is still hope. That means you're human. That means you can still move forward. That means you can still attain. You can still get to the place you want to get to. Failure is not all. It's not the final result for any leader. If you're a leader, failure is not your final result. Failure is a stepping stone. I'm going to read out here, but but David, why am I saying Daniel though? But David said something. He said, "When you fail to rise, you rise to fail." Then he said something that you, when you fail, you see clearer and better. When you fail, we are not talking about some universities now that when you write exam and you fail, they won't tell you what you failed. They won't tell you how you failed it. They won't even tell you your mark. They won't tell you anything. But there are some schools that will tell you, okay, these are the areas you need to concentrate on. These are the areas you need to concentrate on. And by the time you want to redo the exam, it becomes easy for you. So failure is allowed. It is allowed because it makes you see clearer. It makes you see better. And it helps you gain mastery. It helps you gain mastery. The exam you failed yesterday, by the time you go through it today, the one you failed yesterday, if you have practiced again, you won't fail the same question. You won't. It will give you an insight, like even you can see things in a different perspective. You can see things better. You will see it clearer. You will see it like, oh, so this is where I made a mistake. And you will work on it. You will work on it. So as a leader, we need to learn from our failures. We shouldn't just see it as downfall. No, it's where we need to learn and move on. And we need also to be able to overcome obstacles. And that is what resilience is all about. Overcoming obstacles, striving to become better, striving to become best. What you are yesterday should be different from what you are today. Somebody says excellence is you adding a little bit to yourself daily. That's excellence. So I used to see that, oh, most of all these things, success, excellence, prosperity, they are journey. They are not a day thing. It doesn't just come in a day. So leadership, if you are a leader, you should be able to dive in, come out, dive in, come out, dive in, come out until you gain mastery in the diving, and then you can lead people, you can teach people. You can tell them your the failures that you had because you don't want them to go through it. Learn from the failures and never ever allow obstacles to overshadow you or cover your face. Okay, so now I want to talk briefly on something. I want to talk briefly on what happens to leaders that are not able to be resilient. Why is it that some leaders are not, they don't have this resilient spirit? Why, and what are the disadvantages of you not having this resilient spirit? Number one thing, I will start from where I ended, is that you won't be able to cope with adversity. You won't be able to overcome challenges. You won't be able to overcome obstacles. And if you're unable to overcome all this, then you shouldn't be called a leader. You shouldn't be called a leader. If you're unable to do things, if you're unable to cope with adversity, if you're unable to say, oh no, to be firm with what you're going through, then you shouldn't be called a leader. You have to. Like, it's not easy, but it's like something that you've developed over the years, and you have to work on it daily. You have to work on it per time, per minute, per second, that I strive to become better. I strive to be ahead. I strive to do more. I strive to have more mark than yesterday. I strive to finish this book before the end of this time. I strive to do this. I strive to do that. That should be the goal of a leader. Not that any small problem will come and you're already down. No, 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 no. That's not a leader. That is not a leader. Our resistance to change matters a lot. Resistance to change matters a lot. So many of us, when we have just slight, maybe your PA. Let's say for example you are a leader and maybe they just changed someone in the team, and the person is someone that really works with you, like the brain is sharp, and they just change the person, and the first thing you're already down, like what's happening, what will I do now? You're already destabilized, you're already, no, 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 no. As a leader, you have to adapt to change every time. You have to adapt to change. You have to know that this change is constant and I have to adapt to it when whatever comes. In short, you should be expecting challenges as a leader. You should be expecting that somebody will talk anyhow in your group. You should be expecting that some people are not thinking the way you are thinking. You should be expecting that some people, their thinking is even out of this world. We have critical thinkers, we have strategic thinkers. So all these people cannot come together in under one umbrella and you think everything will settle. No, it won't. But as you have to keep striving that, okay, this is who I am. Because I am the one leading you, I have to do my responsibility. And that's to watch over you, that's to guide you, that's to keep you safe, that's to make sure that we get to this promised land together. See, when your followers actually run with your vision, it becomes easier for you. The journey becomes is so easy. But when they don't run with you, and why won't they run with you? They are not seeing things with you. They are not seeing from the perspective you're seeing. They are not, it's not just gelling with them. Adapting to change is very important. And as a leader, this one is very common. You have to not have a low self esteem. Don't have a low self esteem. It's not as if you should have high self esteem. It's these two esteems are actually very, very bad. Don't have high self esteem, don't have low self esteem. In short, maybe you should not have esteem. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. Let them see you. Let them know that okay, when Bro Davis says, I don't want this, is I don't want it. When he says, let's go this way, they trust that if it's Bro Davis that said it, then let's go. You know, there are some people in the group like that. They were like, oh, let's do this thing. I say, who said it? I say, I think it's booking. Booking. Beg. Another person will come and say, who said it? Ah, I think it's David. Eh, David, let's go now. Because it's David, because they've trusted him. They've worked with him. They've seen what he can do. You understand? So these are the things that leaders can do. No self morale. No, don't ever have low self esteem. Like, oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do that. Even just like I said earlier, even if you can't do it, there is no crime in saying, "Give me a second" or "Give me a minute." The next one I want us to talk about is you shouldn't fear taking risk as a leader. Don't ever be afraid of taking any risk. Don't ever be afraid of taking any risk. I know that in this our generation, if we are to be Abraham and God asks us to go and sacrifice our son, most people right now they will say no because they were like, God, the only one you gave me, you want to collect him back? No, it's not possible. I'm not going to do it because they are afraid of taking the risk. Imagine Abraham didn't do that. Maybe God wouldn't have provided a lamb. Maybe God can even take the life of the child the second day because he didn't obey him. Don't be afraid to take risk. See, risk takers are they are the ones that are making it. They are the ones making it. If they don't have new apps, they won't have new see what this Mark guy did now. He created an app and he said in 2 days or how many days, how many millions of people have registered for it. Imagine he was afraid. Do you know how much he made within that 2 days? You just registering for it and having the app on your phone. Do you know how much he has made? Imagine he was afraid that maybe people are used to Facebook, they won't want it, or maybe people are used to this, they won't like it. You would have missed a lot. So as a leader, don't be afraid to take risk. See, that thing you don't want to talk about, you think they are afraid of, that topic that you feel, will it sit well with people? Talk about it. Create your PowerPoint. Explain it the way the Holy Spirit is going to help you. Dish it out. And that thing you don't want to start because you're in a foreign land, start it. That channel you don't want to start, that community you don't want to start it. That thing that is making you like be afraid of, what will I do it. Should be na risky. And if you no work, you go stop am. Abi, na risk na. So don't be afraid, ever be afraid to take risk. And finally, you have to have growth mindset as a leader. A growth mindset as a leader. Just like I've said, and I still repeat right now, that a resilient leader is a leader that has the ability to bounce back from whatever thing the world or the or whatever thing life throws at him, whatever things followers throws at him, whatever thing anybody throw at them, that is, you have to have this growth thing that no matter situation, I will keep moving, I will keep going. I'm not going to stop because of anything. I'm not going to stop because the internet is bad. I'm not going to stop because people are not watching. I'm not going to stop because I don't have likes. I'm not going to stop because I'm not entertaining the world. I am doing what I'm meant to do. And before you know it, I'm going to get to where I'm going to. When DDK started with almost nothing. Sometimes I saw a girl that she started this talk on, I think, TikTok. She said when she used to post her TikTok, then she's the only one that would like her own TikTok. Like people don't watch at all. She'll be the one to like it. But now she has over 139,000 followers. And she said those things that she was doing then, she kept re-uploading it and people are watching. What changes? Growth. She grew. She didn't let anything put her down. Okay, if I try this strategy and it's not working, then let me try this other strategy. If I try this way it's not working, then let me try this way. There are two major mindsets that people have. And I think leaders should always have the growth one. We have the fixed mindset, we have the growth mindset. As a leader, if you have a fixed mindset, it's not going to help too much. But if you have a growth mindset, you know that whatever you have can get better. Whatever you do today can get better. Whatever you are trying to do can get better. And with that, we gain that mastery. We have that goal of being a leader and not just anyhow person. When we are able to gain what we are supposed to gain, when we are able to bounce back to whatever, see, it's like elastic. I used to say that an elastic band, no matter how much you stretch it, the moment you ease it, it comes back. It comes back. No matter how much challenges stretch you, no matter how much the problem of the world stretches you, the spirit of resilience that you have will make you bounce back. And you're not just bouncing back, you're bouncing back stronger, you're bouncing back better, you're bouncing back evolving, you're bouncing back evolving. So you must, I think it's something we all have to pray for, the spirit of resilience. It's going to help in the leadership way. It's going to help in the leadership life. Spirit of resilience that God, I said, oh my God, I'm sorry. This is not a fellowship. That you want to really, really, really bounce, you want to really be able to have this capacity to do beyond, to go outside of yourself, to go outside of what people are saying, to go outside of any limitation, to go outside of anything that people have thrown at you, and become the best leader you can be, not only to yourself, but to the people that are looking at you. Because people are watching. Whether we like it or yes, people are watching. Thank you so much. I think I'm done.
I see. I see. I see. See, let me tell you something. When I was working on this particular event, and I hardly look for guests. When I use the word I hardly, I mean I don't struggle at looking for people to come guest my event, and this has happened over time. I remember a few days ago, a friend of mine wanted to host an event, and I was thinking about her a week before. A week before she messaged me, I was not asking. I was not asking the sorry. Okay, I was not asking the Holy Spirit, right? Why am I thinking about this person? I mean, it's been long we've chatted. It's been long we've talked. Why am I thinking about her? What is going on? I even thought of, picking up my phone, send her a message, hey, how you doing? Just saying hi to you. I don't know what I've been thinking about you lately and all. And when she later messaged me, she told me that she wants me to come and guest, she wants me to come and guest her events and all. I'm like, really? Say, is it the reason why I was thinking about you a week before? So I told her, she was smiling, and she said she already had me in mind before even messaging me. Now I'm like, this is actually the way God works, right? I hardly struggle bringing guests to come, you know, to come guest my events. And I'm really grateful for that because it's amazing. It's amazing. I remember when I messaged Oge, she was like, let's do it, Like, okay, that's good. And when I messaged Sister Buki, she was like, no be, no we do I don't struggle. That's the point. I'm just super excited because I'm learning from all these teachings tonight. And I'm very sure that people who are streaming live and those who are coming back to stream these particular sessions are also going to learn a lot. See, if people really want to pay for this, they will pay. But I said no. Let me do it for free. Your ability to sacrifice as a leader is what makes you a leading leader. If you are not willing to sacrifice for free, then what kind of leader are you? I've held sessions in the past that I just have to let it go for free. There are times, when I started, like what Sister Buki said, when I started, I had a little bit of challenges as well. There are times I will be the host. I am also the guest. I'm the only person showing up for myself. But I didn't relent. I kept on putting in the work. I said, you know what? As long as the conviction is there, I'm good to go. See, for some of us, conviction is all we need. We talk too much. All we need is conviction. As long as you are convinced, number one, you don't need to impress people. You won't need to impress the audience as well. Impression won't be in the game as long as you are convinced about what you are called to do. You are convinced about this, then go ahead and hit the goal. Just go ahead and do it. So the moment I knew I was convinced about leadership, I told myself, I said, Dave, you are not doing this to impress anyone. You are doing this based on conviction. You are so clear and sure about it. So it really affected my belief to the point that whatever I'm doing, I just do it. Whatever I'm putting out there, I just do it. I'm not impressed by likes or by how many people followed me. I just do it. So for some of us, all we need is conviction. We don't need to talk too much. Even I'm this kind of person that when I overtalk, I feel like I'm no longer making sense because how well do you want me to convince you about what I do? So if you don't believe in it, that's your luck. All that matters is you believing in what you are called to do. You know, I was listening to a speaker and he said the ideas of yesterday will not sustain tomorrow's dreams. The ideas of yesterday will not sustain tomorrow's reality. The ideas of yesterday will not sustain tomorrow's vision. Right? Will not sustain tomorrow's vision. So you, as a leader, you need to keep updating your mind. The Bible talks about do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Renewing, present continuous. So you need to update your mind as a leader because the ideas of yesterday will not sustain tomorrow's dreams, will not sustain tomorrow's realities, will not sustain tomorrow's vision and prospects. Update your mind. You have to renew your mind. What people believe about you is not the final. What God think of you is what matters. It is my thoughts towards you are of good and not of evil, to prosper you, and to give you a promised end. That's the thought of God towards you, not the thought of man towards you. So a lot of people are just focused on what people are saying, and that has really created a lot of imbalance. It has created a lot of inconvenience. It has created a lot of misconception about your calling, about what God has called you to do. Thank you so much, Sis Books. Okay, thank you so much for your time. So before we go here, I just want to ask Oge this question. How do people get in touch with you? How do people get to meet you? Just take us through that a bit.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Niger Girl in Germany. You can find me on LinkedIn, Ogenna Onoha on LinkedIn. Yeah, those are the two places. And usually, if you find any of my pages, you would see any other way to contact me. If you need to reach out personally, I have my contact information on all those places. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Please follow her on Instagram, and if you check on Instagram, there's a link on a bio. Click on the link, and it will lead you to several other of our platforms and what she does
Mhm.
as a leader. Now, I'm curious here. I need to ask you this question: who are your mentors, and who are those you look up to?
Hmm. So I usually don't have very typical mentors. So they're not like people that someone can, if I call their names now, you might not be able to know them, because I generally like to have mentors that I can relate with. So, for example, for my professional work, my number one mentor is my boss in Nigeria, or my former boss in Nigeria, Architect Ikenna, because he's such an exceptional person, such an exceptional architect, and exceptional boss and exceptional leader. Someone I really look up to in terms of excellence. You know, I cannot even tell you in words. I cannot explain in words how excellent this guy is. Is Yeah, for me he's a well-rounded person, and so for me he's that mentor I look up to as a is that person I look up to as not just a mentor, but someone I look up to, and I'm fortunate to have this person as to have direct access to this person. I also have another architect, architect Ikenna. And then some people I look up to, for example, here in Germany, I look up to my current colleague, not because she's out of the world, but because of the kind of person that she is. So for me, mentorship and aspiration is not just a person in totality. It's usually bits and bits and bits and pieces from different things. So I might see one person and I really love their attitude towards work. And then that's what I look at from that person. And then another person is probably the way they approach conversations or the way they approach friendship. So I don't have one person that I'll say this is the one person that's everything, you know. So for like my colleague in the office, I she's a very empathetic person, you know. So for me, that's the kind of person I want to be. Someone who is empathetic. You can walk in other people's shoes without necessarily walking in other people's shoes. And those are the most important aspects of my life for me. Um, Being able to relate with other people well and being able to do my job well. So those are the two people that I can tell you off the top of my hands.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The reason why I asked the question is at times it just mesmerizes me when I listen to people talk, especially when they speak and dishing out values and knowledge and all. And what comes to my mind next is who who is leading this one? That's the question because how you think really can be determined by who is mentoring you at the moment and those you listen to at the moment.
Mhm.
Because the people you listen to, their ways of life can govern the way we think at times. I mean, my pastor recently, you know, um, there was a point in time I said, I really want to be dressing the way he dresses because I just like the packaging. So their life, their words, their choices and decisions can influence some part of us.
Mhm.
Unknowingly, we just speak a sign from them. People will start asking you, "Oh, you dress like your mentor." I don't speak like my mentor. Hello, right? At times, people will say, "Oh, you dress like your mentor." Some are even denying the fact that, "Oh, I don't dress like my mentor." But my point is, at times, it just amazes me how people really kind of think. And I think we need to surround ourselves with people who are determined about life, who are curious about knowledge. You don't greet knowledge with emotion. You greet knowledge with curiosity. You want to be curious about how things are being done, how I can do this thing better than the former. So it's the reason why I asked the question. I mean, it's amazing that you follow amazing people, and because since you are following amazing people and you are learning from people who are doing well, definitely it's reflecting your life as well. And
I
people also
hope
want
so.
to take you as a mentor and a leader. So that's interesting, to be honest. Yeah. So currently, yeah, what projects are you working on? And if you, I mean, if it's okay by you to share with us, no problem. But what project are you working on presently?
I'm working on a lot of things actually. For Ray Initiative, we're working on putting together some sort of training. It's supposed to come up soon, so we're hoping to be able to collaborate with a few organizations, especially for funding. To be able to provide trainings for STEM for people in STEM field who are not able to fund that. We're making plans to be able to do that soon. And then for my EdTech Vocational Center, Handistry, we're looking to expand. We're currently doing decent numbers. We've been able to train over 200 people.
Wow.
So we're hoping that we are expanding much more than we have now. We're hoping to get more tutors, more instructors, improve our structure, um, make a lot more things, a bit more seamless, look nicer, expand the scope of what we're doing. We're hoping that very soon we should be able to add things like some mentorship aspect to the work, add some coaching sessions because people are asking for it. So we're hoping that we're able to do that soon. For in the aspect of Hobby House. Hobby House is just there. Anytime anybody reaches me to say I have come and do my house hobby, then then we get the work done. Anytime we have project, we get that done. But then we have dreams. We have big plans for Hobby House, and hoping that we're able to expand in the nearest future. And we're able to be much more. Um, what was the right word for it now? Much more grounded in what we do and stuff, because for the Phobie house it's just me actually and then some other guys that I collaborate with for different stuff.
Yep.
But every other thing, which is handistry, for example, we have a team, so the projects there are much more structured. For the Ray initiative we have a team, projects are much more structured. Then for my personal content creation, I don't know if you have seen that recently. I'm collecting stories from people, so especially people living in Germany. I'm hoping that soon I can expand to other parts of Europe. But for now, it's mostly people in Germany collecting their stories. How they have been able to navigate um, cultural differences, how they've been able to navigate language, education, um, different sorts of biases, and I've been able to thrive, do well in this environment that might not necessarily be the best or necessarily be the most friendly environment. because I talk to a lot of people and I hear some stories that feel more people need to hear. So the main concept is to make these stories more visible, make these people more visible. When I search on Google for people who are thriving in Germany, I should be able to. It should be easier to find these names as opposed to what it is right now. It's really difficult when you do that. You can hardly find that. So I'm hoping that with what I'm working on now, it's called the Diary of Us. So I'm hoping that with that, I'm able to get more stories to be able to reach more people and be able to inspire more conversations around integration, and around diversity and not just diversity and inclusion in the typical way that people talk about it. When we talk about diversity and inclusion, a lot of times we talk about diversity of color, but in this case, I want to be able to shine light more on not just diversity of color, but diversity of ideas, diversity of stories, of life experiences. These shared experiences, there's a way it kind of motivates the next generation to do better and be better. So that's the concept of that. I'm hoping that eventually there's a bigger project that's going to accumulate to, that's going to be wrapped up in, but we haven't started working on that yet. But that's the end goal of that. The end goal is to be able to put together a proper, like some sort of documentary of stories of these people that are they're not as obvious, or they're hidden, if that's the right way to put it. To be able to do something like that, yeah. So I'll do lots of collaborations with some local authorities. So for example, the events that we're going to do next year when the project is going to be a year old, we're going to have an event. We're going to have some panel discussions. We're going to have collaborations with the states, or if possible, the federal body. But for now, the main target is state collaboration, city collaboration, see how we can collaborate with other. I'm talking too much. Shada.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm enjoying your.
Yeah, we're hoping that we're going to be able to do all of that stuff. Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's interesting. Thanks so much for taking us through your story and projects you are working on currently. I can say you are doing so much at the moment, and how you kind of juggle more balls at the time is what I don't understand. Maybe you have more personal time. Maybe you went to bribe God to give you a separate time. I don't.
Uh,
I really don't know, right?
I'm
I was,
lucky. I'm lucky to be able to have really great people I work with. So,
yeah,
for example, my partner with on hand history, he's such an amazing person. He's able to tackle a lot of things without. Everyone is able to focus on their core strengths. We don't have to take up everything that needs to be done. And of course, I have some people who help me do some remote work and just give me feedbacks, and
that's
stuff.
interesting. That's interesting. So I pray God keep equipping your strength, you know, move from wisdom to wisdom, from wisdom to wisdom.
Amen.
Yeah, thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight. I really appreciate.
Thank you.
And before you go, in brief, right? In brief, what has really inspired your work over the years? What would you say is your source of inspiration or motivation to get going, to keep hitting the nail on the head?
The truth is, I hate poverty. I don't.
Powerful.
That's the only thing. I'm not like I want to be able to need money and have it.
I
So
like
because and it may sound funny, but that's the truth. I see that a lot of times when people talk about different things that we do, sometimes we want to lie and say it's for the passion of the work. Passion is there, but the core is to make money.
Sister Bukola is saying something there.
I didn't hear you.
I said, what's passion? No, to make money.
Exactly. Nobody likes this stress to be running. Nobody likes it.
That's why
All this
everybody's monetizing everything these days.
Yeah,
Of course.
exactly. I spoke to someone sometime ago, and the person was talking about how when you're doing some of these things, we're having an Instagram live conversation. The person was like, how you're doing all of these things, you need to not think about the money. What you should be thinking about is, the passion for the work and the passion for them. I'm like, madam, madam, is for me at least that's the way I look at it. But then I'm conscious to know that while you're looking for the money, you need to put the work. You need to be able to develop skill such that you're excellent enough to be able to get the money. It's not just to just be doing everything,
Yeah.
because they say money is here, just go and go and do it. We're going to just burn out. So for me, in all honesty, that's it. Anything that I know that I can do and it's gonna bring money and it's gonna be legit and I have the time and the energy to do it, I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I like that. I mean, your honesty and sincerity is vital here. I like that. I like that. You didn't try to beat around the bush to still, thinking of what to say that inspires you. I is poverty. So nobody.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Yogi. I really appreciate, and
Thank you. I appreciate
hope
this.
to have you some other time. To be honest, this won't be your first time.
I'm always running away from all this speaking thing. I don't know why. Because I know I don't have the speaker persona.
Yes. The word is
But you have it though.
simple and sinking.
I didn't hear you say.
I say your word is simple and sinking. And that's what we needed.
I hope so.
Thank you so much.
I
Thank you so much.
do appreciate this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Sister Books, over to you. Um, how do people get in touch with you? How do they get to meet you, to know you? What you
Number one,
do?
I'm
What
sorry
you've been
for
doing?
this brother. He woke up when he's not supposed to wake up. So
It's
and it's
okay.
been disturbing. Okay, on Instagram, Dr. Buki, and TikTok, I'm Bukola 101. Yeah, people can reach me through that, and people can read my blogs too on Buki's blog at wordpress.com in case they want to read any blog about mind, about life generally. Yeah, and yeah, that's it.
And yeah. All right. Okay. So, the second question here: is there any project you are working on at the moment? And if you feel like sharing, no problem. But is there any project you're working on at the moment?
Yeah,
Anything?
I'm actually working on the teens on teen. That's the topic I give to it. But David knows about it. It's teens on teens. So it's
Yeah.
like we're going to make it like a community where teens will come together with like just tell them about basic life things, about mindset, about time management, how to make money, how to talk to anyone. It's just like all encompassing for teenagers, especially because we see that most people that we are seeing today that are misbehaving, they actually were once teens. And if that mindset is not corrected, we'll still produce more people like those people we don't want to see. So that's what I'm working on right now, and I think I should launch it by September or thereabout. Hopefully September, but I'm going to start integration school course, so don't know, but hopefully I should start.
Oh, okay. That's amazing. That's interesting. One of my challenge as a leader is I mean, it's not really based on sentiments or competition. One of the- yeah, what really makes me think deeper is seeing ladies who are doing amazing things. As for my guys, I mean, guys, we can still I mean, guys, I know. I mean, the inspiration is there though. They drive me and all. But when I see ladies, young ladies, I don't care the age bracket or whatever, but young ladies, the fact that they are able to do something amazing, it's a no drive for me as a man. That wait, do you mean that this lady is doing all this, in the midst of pressure, in the midst of, people talking and talking and talking, and she's still able to carry on? That alone is a challenge for me. You know, it's amazing that you both are doing something really great, and it's not something you are for them. For how can I put it now? For the sake of, let me just do it for people to see me, for me to be noticed by people. It's something you are doing from a sense of clarity, from a sense of passion, and from a sense of conviction that, yeah, I'm good to go. You know. So my next question is, I ask this question whenever I invite people on a platform, especially leaders. Who are those you look up to, right? Who are those you're learning from? Can you give us one, two, three, four names and tell us why
Okay.
you choose them as a leader or as a mentor?
Okay, I'm going to start from the newest one, which is BDK, the Bolade Jikuromi. And why I look up to her is because of what she's doing, especially in Nigeria. She's actually empowering women, especially you that want to go into tech, into all, this term careers, you that you really want to focus on it. And she will make you realize or believe that as a woman there's nothing you can do. You shouldn't allow anyone to talk down on you because you are a lady. She said she grew up like what the world is like. She grew up opposite of what the world understand. The world understand that women are like down and you can't do this, you can't do that. But she
Yeah,
grew up with her dad telling her that what's your position in class first, who is the second, that if the second is a boy, that the man will like, no way, it's not possible. That if the first 10, that it dashes first 10 ladies in our class gifts every is it term they use now, every term in school. So she doesn't see women as being low to anyone. She doesn't see women as being limited or being restricted in any area. And that's what she wants other women to believe in, that you are not restricted, that your woman doesn't reduce your capacity. In
definitely.
short, you should be able to go all out as you want
Sure.
to go for. So, and the other people are actually my pastors. When I was in Ukraine, my pastor, like the preaching and everything, they're like my mentor. They made me like realize so many things. Mommy goes beyond just preaching to you. When you get close to her, she goes beyond preaching to you. Although she's very strict, very very strict. She goes beyond preaching to you and talk to you like one on one. You can talk with her, and she tells you things. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, I've never really walked, so I'm not like since okay that have so many bosses. I don't have bosses yet, and I'm getting. I'm just in Germany now. I'm trying to get integrated. So
That's interesting. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate. I hope to have you some other time. Yeah, because you guys really dish out knowledge tonight, and I learned so much from your content and the things you're able to pass across to everyone here tonight. Thank you, and I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. So, guys, we've come to the end of the program. You know, which is the goal of mastery in leadership with Daini David, Bukola Oni, and Ogenna. Oh, did I pronounce that correctly? Ogenna.
Ogenna.
Ogenna. Thank you.
I used
That's
to
why
I'm
it's
used to people not pronouncing it well, so
I used to hear Ogechi.
yeah, actually, what happened? I think while I was much younger, we had a lot of Ogechi in the class, and then one day I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I need something.
It's not your point.
I need something different. They cannot be calling Ogechi, and then I'll turn around every time. I'm tired.
Oh yeah.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
But it
So
still
if you,
means the same thing.
yes, it does. It means the same thing. At least so far, I think I've met just one other person bearing Ogenna. It's
No.
not regular.
You don't have to look back when anyone calls Oge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Problem solved. Exactly. So thank you so much. So our amazing viewers, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said when I started the program, it takes a lot to want to devote your time to here. Right? It takes a lot to stop whatever it is you are doing just for you to gain one or two things from what we are doing tonight. And I just want to say thank you for joining us. I don't take your time for granted. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you for joining us and for streaming us live on YouTube. All right, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, click on the notification bell, and share the link with a friend. All right. Thank you so much. God bless you. And we've come to the end of tonight's program. See you some other time. Take care. Peace out.
Slumber. Instead of you waking up from this nightmare of despair and letting your opportunities come to life. It's going to be a tough time, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be rough. It's going to be some tough times and tough days ahead for you. But that doesn't mean your ideas are going to die. That doesn't mean that you stop. It doesn't mean you stop believing in yourself. You just got to keep on working. When you got people looking at you from the left side and the right side, from the front to the back, and you in the middle, just remember, everybody's watching. Just give them something to see. Let them see it. Are you watching me? Watch this. Oh, you want to stop me? You can't stop this. That's the mentality that you must have in yourself. Don't you dare give up now. It's okay. Yeah, it hurt a little bit, but I can feel it. I know what that pain feels like. And I know how to keep marching. And I know how to keep moving. And I know how to get productive in my life. Can't stop what you didn't create. You can hate it, but you can't dominate it. Because it belongs to me.
Any long-term plan immediately hits the ugly truth of reality